Today's lesson is on finding the volume of spheres. If you notice, this is the formula for volume of spheres. What I want you to do is just compare that formula to the volume of cylinders and the formula for finding volume of cones. So my guess is that you noticed a couple things. One, both volume of spheres, volume of cones are dividing by 3. And both of them have, like all of them have the radius. What you might have noticed is there's not the height. The height in this is actually built into the radius because a sphere doesn't really have a height since it's all the same. And then we have that 4 there. So just sometimes comparing them all can help you remember the 3 different formulas. Again, I would make sure you have all 3 formulas written down. Today you'll just need this one, but pretty soon we're going to be working on word problems that will involve all of them. So have that written down in your notebook. And let's look really quickly at r cubed because it's different than r squared. So I wanted to just really quickly review how we find the cubed root. Remember that the cubing something is r times r times r. You multiply it by itself 3 times. And so here, for an example, r to the third would mean 3 times 3 times 3, which is 3 times 3 is 9, and then times 3 again is 27. Again, with all these formulas, you should definitely be using a calculator because there are a lot of decimals in our problems. Now let's just do a couple together. So why don't you try 2 to the third power? In this case, it would be 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 again would give us 8. And try 5 to the third. Again, 5 times 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. And then times 5 again is 125. And then last one is 4 to the third. Again, that would be 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Times 4 again would be 64. And again, use a calculator to help you with all of these formulas. So finding the volume of a sphere is really just about putting things in the formula. So if my radius is 2.1 centimeters, I just put that right into my formula, which is 4 times 3.14 times whatever that radius is cubed, and then all divided by 3. What I do is when I put it in the calculator, I first find 2.1 cubed, and that would be 9.261. And then because I don't feel like retyping these long decimals into my calculator, I just leave it and multiply this times 3.14 times 4, and then make sure you hit enter before you divide by 3. And then your final answer would be 38.8 centimeters. Again, make sure you would have that centimeters cubed. So I'm going to have you guys try some examples. So how about this one? So with this one, they made it fairly simple in that 1 cubed is just 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. And then you just put those all into the formula and you get 4.2 inches cubed. Let's try find the volume of this sphere. Remember, and this is the only time I'm going to remind you about this, what do you need to notice about this sphere in this example? Yep, so they gave you the diameter. So remember that you have to find that radius by dividing the diameter in 2. So in this case, your radius would be 3.5 centimeters. And your final answer for this would have been 179.5 centimeters cubed. Again, remember that here you don't want to round, just leave that in your calculator and then do this times 3.14 times 4 and then hit enter, divide by 3. Find the volume of a sphere that has a radius of 10 centimeters. This one would have been 4,186.7 centimeters cubed. Find the volume of a sphere that has a diameter of 3.4 meters. Again, if you got it wrong, remember that you might have forgotten that it gave you the diameter, so you need to find the radius, which was 1.7 cubed, and then your final answer was 20.6 meters cubed. Find the volume of a sphere with a radius of 1.3 inches. That would have been 9.2 inches cubed. Find the volume of a sphere with a diameter of 8.4 centimeters. Again, remember, if your diameter was 8.4, your radius was half of that, or 4.2, and your final answer was 310.2 centimeters cubed. Baseball has a diameter of 2.9 inches. Find the volume of the baseball. Again, that diameter, we have to find the radius, so the radius was 1.45, and your final answer should have been 12.8 inches cubed. Basketball has a radius of 4.7 inches. What is its volume to the nearest cubic inch? And they gave us the radius. Now, cubic inch was that you basically at the end you round it to the nearest inch, or the nearest whole number, so that would have been 435 inches cubed.